Hey, what's going on, everybody? Manny here once again. Welcome to DFS Zone. I have a new video for you guys, but before I get started, like always, I appreciate you guys drop a like. If you're new to the channel, first time here, never ever seen any of my lineup advice videos, the only thing you need to do to be a part of the community and be able to get content for the NBA right now, as well as MLB, which is around the corner, and WNBA, the only thing you need to do is be a subscriber to the channel. So if you have not, as of yet, subscribed to the channel and you want to be able to get this content on a consistent basis, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you also put on your post notifications on. This way you don't miss out on any of my new videos. With that being said, today is Monday. It is March the 18th, 2019. We have a 9-game slate in the association. And first things first, I apologize there was no videos. I did post up early on Twitter and so on and so forth. Let people know that there wasn't going to be a video, but I was going to go live. I was happy to go live. I went live Saturday night. I went live for nearly 45, 50 minutes yesterday before lock. And it was a lot of fun. I appreciate all of you guys that came out. Or some of you are some of my regular people that have been around with me for several months during the NBA. Some of you have been with me all the way back since last NBA season, as well as WNBA. And I greatly appreciate all of you guys, and I appreciate the support. It was wonderful. I look to do it again next weekend, at least maybe over the weekends, over the next few weeks until the NBA season is over. Major League Baseball around the corner, man, so be ready for that. And, of course, WNBA down the line. But, yeah, so we're back to the videos today. I'm going to do everything I can to be as quick as I can. Let's get right to it, man. Let's get right to injuries, all right? Injuries today. There's a couple of injuries that point out. Westbrook out due to the suspension. So Dennis Schroeder, PG-13, definitely in play. Kyle Lowry, game time decision. I believe Kyle Lowry is going to play because Kawhi Leonard has been ruled out for rest. And normally the two of, usually it's very rare that they both out. I think that's only happened once or twice this year. But if Kyle Lowry's out, then there's going to be a lot of value opening up for Toronto. So make sure we stay on top of the news throughout the day because that's going to be important. So Lowry, if he is out, obviously Van Fleet, Lynn, McCall, guys like Green, those guys will more than likely get a bump in minutes. Most importantly, Fred Van Fleet. Tyler Johnson, game time decision with the knee. If he is out, obviously Melton has been starting. There is a bump there. I do love Devin Booker more at that point in time, as well as Oubre. And you always got to consider also Josh Jackson. DSJ for the Knicks, game time decision with the back. So if Dennis Smith Jr. doesn't go, obviously Emmanuel Mudiay is going to get a bump in minutes. He's been playing huge minutes already for the Knicks. He is on the front end of a back-to-back, though, so something to consider there. Shooting guard Luka Doncic, game time decision. If he's out, obviously Brunson, Tim Hardaway Jr. might be a nice option. We also have C.J. McCollum out for Portland. If he is out, obviously he's going to be out for a while. McCollum is out. Lillard obviously in play. Big game for Lillard. Going to be really tough on him, but he is definitely going to get a huge bump in minutes, shots, usage, you name it. Other options there will be Rodney Hood, who's been getting 20 minutes, 19, 20 minutes. I could see him jumping up to 20, 25. I could also see him possibly even starting. I would want to go that route. Another option, obviously, is Seth Curry to look out for minutes if you want to pay down. Small forward, Leonard out with the rest. Obviously, OG gets more minutes, so it's a bump on him. Kyle Lowry, obviously, will be a great play if he's playing. He'll be the guy to go to. And then, of course, Siakam is in play as well. For more usage, more rebounds, more points as there for Toronto as well. Winslow, game time decision with the bruised thigh. If he's out, obviously Goran Dragic will be in play. Mr. Jones Jr. is also in play as well. Do like both of those guys a whole lot with Winslow out. Gordon Hayward has a neck issue, so he's a game time decision if he's out. Look for Tatum, Brown, guys like Morris to get a bump in usage minutes up there in the front court. Power forward, Love and Nance for the Cleveland Cavaliers, both game time decisions. Love with a back, Nance with the ribs. Look at Chris. You can look at bumps for Cedi Osman as well as Ante Zizic. Serge Ibaka serving his suspension. I think it's the last day for him. Siakam and Gasol are the key components there to get a huge bump. Noah Vonleh, game time decision with the ankle. Cornette, Ellison, Lance Thomas, those are the guys you could be targeting there for the Knicks. Holmes, game time decision for Phoenix. If he's out, obviously the bump has been to Josh Jackson. You also could consider Bender there as well, but I will go Jackson more so. At center, Boogie Cousins, game time decision with an ankle. If he's out, obviously the bump is you got Looney, who's going to obviously more than likely start. Then you got Green, Draymond Green to consider, and Kevin Durant, I think, gets a bump there as well as far as him getting rebounds. And so they're going to need his assistance. Al Horford, game time decision with the knee. So you're looking at Williams, maybe Aaron Baines. Those are the guys you can consider there. Tristan Thompson, game time decision with a foot for Cleveland. So Zizic has been playing, and I think he will continue to get those minutes there. All right. So as you can see, man, right here on the screen is my research weapon of choice draft dashboard. And of course, if you want to be able to get, we're going to go over everything. We got defenses, we got DVPs, we got the fantasy points per game, the minutes used, the usage, what they've done against the opponents in the last few games that have faced each other, ownership projections, which is really, really big, points per minute, as well as this hit percentage, which I truly, truly love here as one of the features on the dashboard. You're going to get all this stuff, all this information here, all the basic information that you really, really need to make good, sound decisions every day. On top of that, you got some other bonuses here, NBA cheat sheet, link here. So if you click on that, you're going to be able to get a nice little cheat sheet. You got the sleepers and studs, player trends, lineup optimizer where I'm at pretty much right now, and then the lineup optimizer where you could be able to put all your watch players. Like right now, I have my watch players. So you could get all these features. On top of that, you can utilize it both for DraftKings and FanDuel, and also use it for MLB, NHL, NBA, and NFL, all for the same price. But I could offer you that now for my viewers and subscribers. 30 days for $1. Check it out, man. You're going to get the dollar back, no doubt about that, over the course of 1 month. And you're going to see that you're going to enjoy the software. On top of that, Major League Baseball is around the corner. So, I mean, you're going to, if you play MLB DFS, you're going to need some sort of software to be able to do your research and to optimize lineups. All right. Also, the link is in the description of that video. That's most important. The link is in the description of that video. Click on that link. You're going to get all the features here. On top of that, you're going to get access to my own watch players list. So you'll be able to follow along DFS Zone. Myself, Manny here, you're going to follow all the way through. And remember, the most important thing, if you do decide to do that, and I know a number you have already, just make sure you follow along throughout the day, especially after 5 o'clock, because when I come back home and I settle in, I start reviewing everything all over again. So right now we got 21 watch players. It may be 25 later on. It may be 26. There will be more than the ones I'm going to discuss here right now. They're going to be more than these, but I'm just letting you know. It will probably be 30 by the time another hour or so from now. But it's going to be definitely narrowed down by the end of the day to the very best possible plays for us here on the dashboard. Okay, guys? All right, let's go to point guard. At point guard today at the top, Damian Lillard, obviously not much to say. He's in a good situation. No CJ McCollum. He's going to need to put up tons of shots. Going to need to be really offensive minded in a tough game. Indiana is a tough team, as you can see, #1 in the NBA, #1 against point guards, but you're going to have some consideration for him. At 10K on FanDuel, I'm not high in that 10K. I will have very little with him, to be totally honest with you. I will sprinkle him in a few quarter GPPs, not core play. I think definitely on DK at 9,000, needing only 45, it's a good spot for him there. So, I mean, if you want to play him on DK, I think that it's quite all right. But I think at point guard, you can pay down. There's a lot of great options, and price with the prices a little lower in the lower tier here. At the bottom here, you got Alfred Payton. He's my next possible choice. He's been red hot. Not on FanDuel, folks. Listen to me carefully. At 9,300, I am not letting you. I'm telling you right now, do not play him on FanDuel for 9,300. There are other options here within point guards that you can go to that are going to be a lot cheaper. But on DK for 7,500, he's one of the better options at point guard today. At 7,500, you need 37. Okay, and as you can see, he's averaging 30. But look at the last 3 games: 52, 54, and 55. So he's playing 52 plus in 3 straight games, playing 34 plus minutes, and his usage rate has been slightly bumped up during the course of the time that Jrue Holiday's been out. He's been absolutely wonderful. Average, could get you 1 fantasy point per minute. 16% of the time he's hit this value, but at 40-somewhat% at that $1,800 reduction price on DK. So definitely on DK is the place to play him at, all right? Dallas 21st in defending point guards. They are been giving up 31.4 fantasy points per game to opposing point guards. Gave up 38 recently to Sexton and 31 to Jamal Murray. I think the way Peyton has been playing, he should be okay here to meet value. But on DK, Kyle Lowry, game time decision. I think he's going to play. Leonard is out. He's going to be in play. Right now, I don't have him on my watch players list, but he may be someone to be, may be an option. My next guy that I'm going to discuss is right down here. I do like Ricky Rubio a lot here. Now, if he's going to play, if Ricky Rubio is going to play over 25 minutes, I think he's going to be a solid play here. At $6,000, I'm okay with him on FanDuel at $6,000. You need 30. On DK's $5,000, you need 25. Hands down, I think he's good on either one of the two sites for the 30. He can get you 30. He can get you 1 fantasy point per minute. This is a good matchup against Washington. We love picking up on Washington. Washington is 25th defending point guards. And as you can see, he's had a 29, 27, and 29 in his last 2 games. Since coming back from injury, slowly but surely the minutes are up, 21, 21, and 22. If he can get back to over 25 minutes today, I think he's someone to consider. Again, I have him here now. Does not mean that I'm going to have him here at 630, 635, 640. But I do believe this will be a great matchup for him if we know for a fact he's ready to go and he's going to get no minutes restriction. So something to consider there. But I do like him here. Washington, like I said, 25th in defending point guards, and they've been allowing 41.4 fantasy points per game to opposing point guards, which is a huge number. Gave up 48 to Connolly, 49 to Kemba Walker just in their last 2 games. So again, I'm not saying that Rubio's going to get 40. I think he could definitely get you 30, 35. And at that $5,000 price tag on DK, definitely looks pretty good. 47% of the time he hits value at just a 6K, and he's over 50% definitely on DK. Right below him, Chris Dunn. A lot of you guys were asking me about him yesterday on the stream, and I said I wasn't on him. I thought that Levine was in a better matchup, as well as Markkanen. They all shit the bed. They look terrible. They're in a bounce-back situation today, all 3 guys. But Chris Dunn today has a better matchup. Okay, so the matchup today with no Tyler Johnson, if there is no Tyler Johnson, who is a pretty decent defender, I do like Chris Dunn here today against Melton. Chris Dunn will definitely be in play at 5,800. He's 5,300 on DK. You need 26 to meet value there. On FanDuel, 2,800, 5,800. You need 28. And as you can see, numbers haven't been pretty. But again, he has played well against Phoenix. 42 average. Didn't play them thus far this year. The last time he played them was last year, 48. Again, I do like the whole entire match of 52% of the time he smashes value here. That's probably about 55% on DK. He's going up against Phoenix, 20th in defending point guards, and they've been allowing 42.6 fantasy points per game, which is even higher than the Washington Wizards. 42.6. They gave up 54 to Peyton and 89 to Harden over the last 2 games. So Chris Dunn should be in a nice spot here in a nice paced-up game. I think it's one of the more competitive games of the night, considering both teams are out of it. So Chris Dunn in play. Other than Chris Dunn, I also have here Manny Moutier. Again, he's a fine play in this matchup. The only thing is, he is on the front end of back-to-back, but he's still getting large minutes. I mean, as you can see, over 32 minutes a game, 3 straight games. Usage rate is in about the 23 to 25% range over the last 3. 52% of the time he hits value here. He's $100 cheaper on DK. He is definitely just a FanDuel play. You can't plug him in on DK if you want to, but the budget is higher on FanDuel. So on FanDuel, $4,900, when they're that close, you definitely will go FanDuel. So FanDuel will be a better play for Moutier. Other than that, the other options, Van Fleet, like I said, you got to watch the news. Van Fleet could be in play. You know, Ish Smith, it could be in play. Goran Dragic, I mentioned, at 61% hit percentage here. I do have my eye on Dragic as well. He'll be on this watch players list in a little bit. But those are the guys I'm looking at right now at point guard. At shooting guard, shooting guard at the top, Devin Booker. Let's just make sure this is at the very top. Okay, we got Bradley Beal at the top. I'm not on Beal, but Devin Booker on the front. He's also on the back-to-back. He put up 62 last night in 41 minutes. I mean, it's a lot of minutes, but he is another decent matchup against Chicago. I like his price tag on DK, not on FanDuel. 9,800 on FanDuel. You need 48. It's tough to try to get 48 after you put up 62 spot last night. He can get there. He's in a matchup that he could get there, but the price tag is just more appealing on DK, where he can definitely smash it. So him on DK at 8,500, needing 43. He's averaging 40, and he's been killing it. 40 or better in 3 straight games. His last game, he put a 62 spot, as we already said. The minutes are there. The usage is there. It's through the roof. Over 30% is considered through the roof. I mean, he has been at 34% or better in 3 straight games. So, I mean, yeah, absolutely Devin Booker in play here versus Chicago. 29% of the time here, but on DK, that $8,500 price tag is more closer to 40% of the time. So he's in a better position on DK. He's going up against Chicago. They're 22nd in defending shooting guards, and they've been giving up 22.6, not a whole lot, fantasy points per game. They did give up to Buddy Hield 36 and Beverly 36 back-to-back just them two in the last 3 games. So they actually have been trending a little bit downward as far as fantasy points. Luka Doncic, if he plays, he could be definitely an option. I prefer him also on DK. Don't have him quite there yet. I do like DeMar DeRozan here at 8,800. I'm okay with 8,800 on FanDuel. I think this is just a game that San Antonio is going to step up. They're playing Golden State. They're playing at home. For them, it's like we got to show these guys that we can play against Golden State. If they don't have Boogie Cousins on the floor, obviously it's going to be a better opportunity for San Antonio to stay close in this game. But I think San Antonio, you got to look at Aldridge, you got to look at DeRozan, you got to look at these two guys, the key components of this team. They're going to definitely have big games, and this is a day that they should try to definitely have the biggest game that they can have to show Golden State that they're there and they're for real. So I expect DeRozan and Aldridge to really pick up their game today. But at 8,800, you need 44 on DK, 7,800. Love his DK price, man. 7,800 for DeMar DeRozan with 50-point upside. You only need 38, and he's averaging 40. So he's actually priced below on DK, and I'm okay, like I said, with the FanDuel price in this matchup. Over 30 minutes pretty much per game. The usage rate is really good as well, 27% over the last 2. Has a 45 average against Golden State, has played them well. 40% of the time he's hit value here. You would figure for $1,000 cheaper, he's probably close to the 50%. So DeMar DeRozan here is in play. I do like DeMar DeRozan versus Golden State. Golden State is 11th in defending shooting guards, and they've been allowing 26.4 fantasy points per game. They did give up in 2 games ago, Harden 54, and Booker 3 games ago, 64. So DeRozan, hey, the only thing I need you to do is to hit 40 to 45. So DeMar DeRozan in play. Klay Thompson in play if Cousins or Durant is out. But I just heard that Durant is playing. So Klay, right here in front of you guys, I'm going to just fade him off right now at the moment because I like Durant a little bit more in his matchup today. With whom he's going up against as opposed to Klay. And so I would be pivoting over to Durant for a little bit higher price tag. If I'm going to go with anybody in Golden State, it will probably be Durant or Draymond Green with Boogie Cousins out. So Klay, all right. So next guy here, Zach LaVine, could be someone to consider too. He had the better game out of the 3 guys last night as he put up 36 in 29 minutes. And again, granted, some of these guys like Dunn didn't play a whole lot of minutes. So, I mean, these guys should be ready to go today. LaVine in a good spot against Phoenix. The only problem with Phoenix and his particular matchup is that he's going to face Devin Booker. And I'd rather have Booker than LaVine for whatever reason, just simply because he is at home. But Zach LaVine could be someone who can have a nice game here. He's had a 40 spot against Phoenix the last time out. His usage rate is very, very high. So he's one of the key components. Him as well as marketing are going to get the highest usage on this team. And then you got here, he's been averaging 36 all the way as much as 46 over the last 2 games. So LaVine could be an option. Phoenix is 20th in defending small forwards and giving up 25.5 fantasy points per game. So, again, LaVine could be in a good spot. Dennis Schroeder, obviously, with with Russell Westbrook out. Obviously, he gets a bump there, so that's automatic. Not much to say there. It's just a matter of that it's just someone you got to consider simply because he does get more minutes, gets more touches with the ball. He's going to handle the ball. He's going to move over to the point guard spot. So, Dennis Schroeder is in play just due to that. I do like his price tag on DK better than FanDuel. You need 30 at 6,000. On DK, he's 5,100. You only need 25, and he's averaging 26.5. So I do like that. The minutes are sufficient. Usage rate is sufficient. He's going to get a bump today. 42% of the time he smashes 6,000. So you figure at 5,100 is probably closer to 50%. So Dennis Schroeder in play. Other than Schroeder, I think that's it for the shooting guards right now that I'm looking at. Small forward. At small forward, obviously Paul George is in play. I'm not going to go crazy about it, man, with Paul George. He's in play just simply because of Westbrook being out. We know that he's the second go-to guy offensively on this team, and he's going to be the number 1 guy tonight. So Paul George in play. I love his price on DK. Absolutely love his price on DK. He is 9,700 on DK, under 10 grand. For Paul George, yeah, you got to consider him in this matchup. He is going to be 29% ownership. Ownership is going to be up. But, I mean, again, it's a 9-game slate. I don't concern myself much with that. You know, there's going to be more than enough players to choose from here to put yourself in position that you could be different. But 29% ownership, it doesn't really hurt here. What I do like is the fact is that he is going up, and he's going to have to put up a lot of shots, and he's going to have to be very offensive minded and aggressive. At 9,700, you only need 47, folks, on DK, and it's not here. He's average on this 11,002. You need 56. Not that he can't get you there, because we know he's got 60, 70, 80 point upside. He has huge upside. The hit percentage at 35% here is a little lower than what I would like to see, and that's why I like this feature. But if you click on this and you move this to DK at 9,700, he has crushed 9,700 65% of the time. So on DK, he's definitely a better play just simply on that feature alone. All right, Kevin Durant, I do like Kevin Durant in this matchup against San Antonio because of the matchup. He's going to go up with Rudy Gay. I maybe get some Aldridge on him. I do believe he can handle those guys. So Kevin Durant, I think, just due to the fact that if Cousins is out and he's got to go and get some more rebounding, get a little more physical under the boards, I do believe that this is a game that he can have better numbers than Klay Thompson. Maybe not so much. Maybe him and Klay are going to be the two key components. But I think Kevin Durant is the better play for me, just simply on the matchup of who is going to defend him. But 55% of the time he smashes 9,600, and 9,600 you pretty much need 46. On DK's 8,800. All right, so you're going to drop $800 to get him on DK for 8,800. That is mad cheap. That is too cheap for Kevin Durant on DK. Obviously, he's in play in both sites for me. He's averaging 47. He only put up 35. Granted, he's been out a couple of games with the injury, but again, he has done well against San Antonio, 51 over the last 3 games, and he put up 55 in his last outing against them. Do like him at 1.3 fantasy points per minute, 55% chance of hitting value there, and only with a 10% ownership. I do like Kevin Durant. He's going up against San Antonio, the 21st in defending power small forwards, and they've been allowing only 19.4 fantasy points per game, which is pretty low, but it's because they haven't faced any top-tier small forwards. The last time they faced somebody was back in mid-February against Leonard, and Leonard put up 44 fantasy points on him. And other than that, since then, they really have not faced anybody that is that good. So, again, Kevin Durant in a good spot. Other than Kevin Durant, you got to consider Kelly Oubre Jr., 6,900. You need 34. On DK, 6,500. You need 32. He's been putting up huge numbers, 44-plus in 2 out of his last 3 games, averaging 28. The minutes are there through the roof as well, 31 or better over the course of the last 3. Put up 43 minutes last night in that game. 29% usage rate in his last game out, averaging 23 for the season. Again, 4% ownership with a 1 fantasy point per minute. I do like Oubre. Now, granted, his hit percentage at 29% is not great, but just simply on just usage, minutes, the amount of shots he takes, he's the second leading scorer on this team since coming over to Phoenix. You got to consider him. He's just definitely someone in play. Going up against Chicago, they're 5th against small forwards, and they've been allowing 23.6 fantasy points per game. If you're not on Oubre, you can come all the way down. I think that you got to keep your eye on Rodney Hood. If we hear word that he's going to start, I think at $4,100 and $400 cheaper at $3,700 on DK, it's just, it's a fair price for him. 17 he needs there, 4,100 you only need 20. I think he can definitely do it. He's averaging 18 for the season. He's put 17 and 18 in his last 2 outings. But if he can get 20, if he can stay in that 20, 28 minute range here today, or get the start and know that he's going to get about that many minutes, I think he could definitely meet value there. It could be a nice little sneaky play. So Hood is in play as well. And there's among a few others. Again, or anything can change from here to then. So just keep your mind on that. Just be aware of that. I have power forward at the top. At the top, Julius Randle in play, 8,900 with the usage he gets. He's another one that you can't consider here. He's going up against Dallas. I can't see whom is going to actually stop him. So that's what it really comes down to. He put up 75 just 2 games ago, put up a 40 spot in his last game at 8,900. You pretty much need 44 to meet value. He has 8,000 on the nose. On DK, you need 40. He's averaging 38, but as you can see, he's got 70-point upside. He definitely hits 40s quite often. I think he's definitely going to be able to get 40 or 45 or more in this game against Dallas. Usage rate is through the roof as well, 27%. But as you can see, last 2 games, like I said, over 30% is through the roof, 33 and 45. And then if he is averaging a 40 spot against this team, and with Anthony Davis not playing that huge amount of minutes, I do believe that Julius Randle will be able to really tear it up here today. So Julius Randle in play for me, man. Dallas is 15th in defending power forwards, and they have been allowing 34.2 fantasy points per game. They did give up 42 to Love and 50 to Millsap over the last 3 games. So Randle is right there in a position that he can definitely crush value here. Next guy in line here, LaMarcus Aldridge. Like I said about DeMar DeRozan, you got to consider LaMarcus Aldridge. This game, it's just you got a feeling that San Antonio at home, they're going to get up for the game, and these guys are going to be the main pieces to this team to do for them to do well tonight is Aldridge and DeRozan, and I think they are going to go out there and play hard. And he's played well against Golden State. 53 average over the last 2 meetings against them. At 8,800, not a bad price for Aldridge here on FanDuel. You need 44. He's averaging 39 on DK. 8,100, you need 40. Pretty close to his value, to his price, his average. Granted, he's had a couple of little dud games here in a row, but again, he's done fairly well. As you can see, Golden State 54, 51, 39, and 34 in his last 4 outings. He did have a 62 spot and a 43 and 48 just 3 to 4 or 5 games ago during the course of his last 5 games. And his projected ownership is only 5%, which is fantastic at 1.2 fantasy points per minute. Again, I do love his price tag. I do love his price on DK as well as FanDuel. I think he can definitely get it done here. He's going up against Golden State. They're 12th in defending power forwards. And they have been giving up only 21.3 fantasy points per game. But again, these are the guys they faced in the last 3 games. Grant, 17. P.J. Tucker put up 13. Dragan Bender put up 12. It wasn't until 4 games back when they faced Tobias Harris, who's a pretty decent power forward, put up 34. And then before that, Aaron Gordon put up 45. So, again, they haven't faced anybody really good in the last 3 games. They're going to face somebody that's fairly good here today. So, LaMarcus Aldridge, to me, at the moment, is someone to consider. Blake Griffin, just too cheap. 8,500 on FanDuel. I'm okay with that. His price tag on DK is just too cheap. It's just a beautiful price. 7,200 on DK. You only need 36. And he's averaging 42. Now, granted, he's always up and down. 25, 27, we get you 35. He can go up to 40. He can get you a 50 and go back down to 20, 25. So you don't know which Blake Griffin you're going to get. But, again, this is a favorable matchup for him. He's going up against Cleveland with all the injuries they got. If they have no Love tonight or no Nance, they're going to be shorthanded as far as rebounding is concerned. I do like Griffin here if he's able to play. Now, granted, it's a few times this year that he has not even played on a back-to-back, but there hasn't been any news yet that he hasn't played, that he's not going to play. So he's someone sometimes that takes a rest day after a back-to-back, but going up against a team that is vulnerable here, they might just have him sit. So be on the lookout for that. This is not guaranteed. Like I said, any of these players, they could all be switched by the end of the day. But Blake Griffin is in a good position here. In a very good position. 57% of the time he smashes that $8,500 price tag. That's a big number right there. Just seeing that feature right there, telling you that is awesome. And then on DK, 7,200, 78% of the time he has smashed the $7,200 price tag. He's going up against Cleveland. They're 16th in defending power forwards, allowing 29.7 fantasy points per game. They just gave up 34 to Nowitzki, and prior to that, Aaron Gordon put up 38. Other than next in line here would be Pascal Siakam. Obviously, with no Ibaka, he definitely gets a huge bump as far as rebounding, scoring. He needs to definitely get it done. He's going up against a weak Knicks team that's more than likely going to be without Noah Vonleh. If Vonleh is out, it's opening the doors even more so for Siakam. So I like that. Granted, with Vonleh in there, the Knicks defense is a little bit better at that 4 spot. But with him out, definitely you got to consider Siakam. So he's right now still on my radar, but not at the FanDuel price of $8,300. On the DK price. He is just a DK play for me today. He is $1,500 cheaper, puts him at $6,800 on DK, only needing 34, and he's averaging 32. As you can see, he had a 40 spot 2 games ago, playing more than enough minutes. Usage rate is over 20%. He's been actually trending upward as far as usage. His usage will be up again today. He's done okay against New York, but he's going to be in a better spot if Vonleh is out, so keep that in mind. I do like Siakam here. 30th, Knicks are 30th defending against power forwards, and they've been allowing 25.3 fantasy points per game, which they actually have been doing better at. And that's all due to Vonleh playing. So if Vonleh is out, obviously I do like Siakam's chances even more so. So Siakam is in play, and that's pretty much where I'm at there. Siakam. If you are going to consider anybody at the bottom, I mean, Draymond Green comes into play, so keep that in mind. Draymond Green will be someone to consider. Bam Adebayo is someone that I'm considering. Josh Jackson, obviously, with the Tyler Johnson being out, he could be someone to consider. You got Jeremy Grant going up against Miami. He's an option. You know, I mean, that's a number of guys, but we ain't gonna go over everybody. Go over center. At center at the top. Trying to move quick here, and I still feel that I've been here too long. Andrew Drummond at the top is my favorite play, man. 10,300. You need pretty much 51, 52 to me value here, and he is $1,700 cheaper. What a freaking difference! It's crazy. The DraftKings prices. I wish we had those prices on FanDuel where I play more at. But I am going to be on DK quite a bit today. There's a number of guys that stand out to me that I really love those price tags. But Drummond at 8,600 on DK is definitely someone you got to consider, even possibly a lock, especially if Blake Griffin even sits. If Blake Griffin sits, you got to load up on Andrew Drummond. He's going to be a little more popular right now. He's at 14% ownership. That will definitely go up to about 25-30 if Blake Griffin doesn't play. At 10,003, you need 52. I think he can get you there. But at 8,600, that's a smash play right there. 43 is all you need, and he's averaging 45. He put up 42 and 53 just in his last 2 games. He's playing more than enough minutes. He's actually been trending upward the last 2 games. Usage rate is still fairly good, just around 20%. And again, he brings more than 1 fantasy point per minute, as much as 1.4 fantasy points per minute. He smashes this price tag at 45% of the time. And at 8,600, he smashes that 67% of the time. So Drummond is definitely in play. Going up against Cleveland, they are 8th in defending centers and allowing 38.2 fantasy points per game. They did give up 40 to Vucevic and 56 to Embiid over the course of the last 3 games. Next in line here, Rudy Gobert. Love him also on DK. Both guys on DK definitely can go with either one of the 2 guys. Gobert, we love to pick on Washington with their center spot. Rudy Gobert, 9,600. You need 46 to me value on FanDuel. On DK, he's 8,300. You need 42 to me value. He's averaging pretty much 42, and he's put up 45 plus in 2 out of the last 3 outings. And as you can see, his minutes are way up. 34, as high as 32 to as much as 34, so he's about average. His usage rate slightly up on the last game, but he's usually in that range of 19-20%, which is fantastic. He gives you more than 1 fantasy point per minute. As you can see, 1.3 fantasy point per minute, and in this game, his ownership projection right now is at 3%, which is fantastic. 36% of the time, he hits value at 9,600, but I love him on DK, where he has been smashing 8,300, 54% of the time. So Gobert in play. He's going up against Washington. Washington is 25th in defending centers, and they've been giving up 38 fantasy points per game right on the nose to opposing centers. 37 to Valanciunas in the last game out. Vucevic put up 42, and Karl Anthony Towns put up 70 4 games ago. So there is definitely some room for Gobert to do some work. Next guy I'm going to talk about is Marc Gasol. Gasol, 7,000, need 35 on FanDuel. On DK, 6,200, need 31. Obviously, he is in play with no Ibaka. He's going to start. He's going to play 30, 35 minutes or more. He did play 35 minutes and 36 minutes in the last game out. Put up 35, nearly 1 fantasy point per minute. He's got 1.1 fantasy point per minute. Looks pretty darn good. 33 and 35 in his last 2 games. That price tag, 57% of the time, he smashes $7,000. This is a guy that's usually an $8,500 player. So, I mean, it was just a matter that things were just not panning out at Memphis. But now that he's in Toronto with Ibaka out, obviously a bump in usage, a bump in minutes. As long as he's healthy, he's going to go out there, he's going to play. He's going up against the Knicks, who are very vulnerable up front. Definitely a great opportunity for him. The Knicks have been really bad up front. DeAndre Jordan is not a great defender. So Marc Gasol being a better defender, I do like Marc Gasol in his matchup. No Ibaka, no Kawhi Leonard. Marc Gasol is going to need to do a lot of rebounding. New York, 21st in defending centers, 33.4 fantasy points per game to opposing centers as of late. They gave up 30 to McGee yesterday. Porter put up 47 2 games ago, and Turner of the Indiana Pacers put up 42, and Taj Gibson put up 45, all in the last 4 games straight. And that's where I'm looking at right now, ladies and gentlemen. So again, man, drop a like on the video. If you have not yet subscribed, you want to get some MLB, you want to get some WNBA, make sure you subscribe. If you want to use the draft dashboard tools, definitely use them. Watch my watch players list. You can be able to get that all with the link in the description down below for 30 days for $1. And stay on top of the news and stay on top of the draft dashboard and on Twitter. All that information for me as far as the best possible plays from DFS Zone will be out later on today. All right, guys. God bless. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.